Okay, so lastly, we are going to talk about content that we received from Black Women Divest Now. It's a platform
Oh,
big on TikTok
oh
offering
dear.
modern dating advice to modern Black women.
Mm.
So, in this particular clip, um, in this particular clip, first of all, race to 1K. If you like the commentary on the Conscious Approach channel, hit that subscribe button, like the video, let us know what you think about the commentary in the comment section because we always paying attention to the comments. But subscribe to the channel
Yeah,
so
man.
that you
Come
can
on.
always know when we publish a new content to the channel because we appreciate you supporting logical content. But yeah, Black Women Divest Now, big on TikTok, and they recently put some content out talking about why it is the biggest challenge that Black women face in terms of being a wife or finding marriage, finding whatever, a partner, whatever, however you want to say it. And according to this particular video, Black women's greatest challenge with becoming a wife uh, lies in the fact that there just simply aren't enough eligible Black men out there. So that'll be the preview that I'll provide. But we're gonna go ahead and share this, and then we're going to talk about this. Needless to say, we found this to be quite interesting. Um, so we'll go ahead and play this.
What do you think the challenge is that women are
Sorry about that. We'll go ahead and play it from the beginning so it's nice and clean. So we'll go ahead and play this. You can see there the caption says there's not enough eligible Black males who fit the needs of Black women. So, as you can imagine, we would have a lot to say about this. So we'll go ahead and play this, and then we'll talk about it afterwards.
what do you think the challenge is that women are having, Black women in particular, when it comes to becoming a wife?
Keeping it 100,
Yes.
there's not enough eligible Black males who fit the needs of Black women. By the time you dissect the demographics of finances, sexual orientation, what you end up drilling down into, because Black women tend to want to marry Black men.
Right.
So Black women are excelling. They're getting accelerated degrees, graduate degrees, doctorate degrees. They're starting businesses. Black women are running circles around men.
Right.
And it's also shown in research that women want to marry on their same level of financial and educational status.
Yeah.
So if you're a Black woman making $150,000 a year with a master's degree, you tend to want to marry a Black man on that same level or higher. If Black women are excelling at such an accelerated
individuals, the Black manosphere
Oh no!
What do you think the challenge is?
you tend to want to marry a Black man on that same level or higher. If Black women are excelling at such an accelerated rate, how do men keep up with that?
What do you think the challenge is that
A new study released this week.
Okay.
And interesting.
Yeah.
There's a
So
lot in there.
yeah, there is a lot there. So she attributed to Black women just outpacing Black men in terms of achievement, and that being the reason why. I think that's the root of what she was suggesting.
That's what she was getting at.
Yeah. So I know we respectively probably have lots to say on this. But what were your initial thoughts?
This is definitely a where do I begin kind of thing. So I'll start here. All right. So on the outset, I don't disagree with what she's saying. And with respect to finances, sexual orientation, and just availability. And so when it comes to let me start with availability. So with availability, with the construct that Black males have fallen into with gang culture, prison industrial complex, hip hop videos promoting this lifestyle, hip hop culture in general promoting that lifestyle, there's a lot of guys that end up in prison or in the jail system or somewhere in there to where, advancing their lives and doing all of these other things, the traditional way. it impedes that if they were even to get out, or if, especially if they're locked up, right? So availability, so that kind of ties into finances, but sexual orientation. There's a lot of black dudes out there that are out there just doing their thing, and they just a part of that community, and there's a lot of them. And when attending an HBCU myself and being on campus, there's a lot of those guys in my class, and so it was to the point to where me and a couple of buddies of ours pointed out the obvious, that there's really no competition on campus. It was the frat guys, who some of those guys was in that community, but it was the frat guys, and that's it. Everybody else was either regular straight black male, which was not a lot. It was a lot of gay guys there on campus. So when that's a situation, black women aren't having options when it comes to the higher educated ones. At least I can speak to that from seeing things on campus. Now, that's not all campuses, but I witnessed it first person. And then when it comes to finances and things of that nature, there's a whole bunch of rigmarole that can go into that. But due to lack of education, due to lack of certain things that, the average black male doesn't have those types of accolades and stuff like that to actually be in the workforce and making that kind of money and all that other jive. So there's components in there that's glaringly obvious to anybody that wants to just look at it and see, okay, well, these factors are getting in the way of black women finding a good available man. The thing that I have an issue with is, even though there's a lot of people in bucket A, bucket B, and bucket C, there's still a lot of males that aren't in that aren't in those buckets. They are available, and those guys get looked over for, I would argue, hypergamous reasons, and also masculinity issues, struggling with their own personal femininity. There's other angles that I would take on this, but these are my initial thoughts. How about you, sir? How did this make you feel?
Yeah. On the surface, I don't disagree with what she said. Very, you said the same thing pretty much when you started.
Mm-hmm.
On the surface, if we are not contextualizing the conversation, if we're not getting into nuance and we're just looking at it on the surface, I don't disagree with what she is saying. Mm-hmm. We talked about, so a couple videos ago, we talked about how much is the institution of things like child support compromising relationships. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that I brought up was, if you look at any modern statistic in terms of higher educations and in terms of higher salaries, women, and this isn't just with black people, this is just across the board. Mm-hmm. Women are outpacing men in all of those areas. Mm-hmm. Women are outpacing men in terms of, educational attainment, opportunity, and salary. Mm-hmm. So obviously, if women in general are outpacing men in those areas, then it stands to reason that within population, black women are also outpacing men in those areas as well. Mm-hmm. And so I think it is natural for any person, any woman who is at a certain level socioeconomically to want to at least date across or up, but definitely not date down. And so when she mentioned black women wanting to date up or date across, like I said, on the surface, I don't disagree with her. Those are things that I don't disagree with. I have always stated that, practically speaking, hypergamy makes sense. I don't think it makes sense for any woman, much less a black woman, to get with a guy who is on the struggle bus. Don't get with a struggle rapper. If you are a 9-to-5 chick, don't get with a guy who works at Walmart full part-time. If you are if you have a BA and you are a teacher or you are an administrator or you work at a state job or if you work in local government, don't get with a guy who's a full-time server or cook at a restaurant. That doesn't make sense. So I agree with a lot of that stuff. I agree with women who say, if I'm going to date a man, there is a baseline set of preferences that I would like for that guy to be able to uphold. Things such as having your own home or your own place that you live in, not
Mhm.
living with parents or roommates, not having your own vehicle, paying your own bills. These are things that intrinsically lend themselves to a guy being able to be a provider. And that to me is a reasonable form of hypergamy that I've never had nothing against. So on the surface, when she talks about women wanting to date across or up, I don't even think she said across. I think she blatantly said women want to date up.
She
But
mentioned
even
across.
okay, fine, okay, cool. Then even then, I don't disagree with that. Now, I think it's important to contextualize it. However, the women in that clip were speaking from a top 10% perspective.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the thing that you have to keep in mind.
Mm-hmm.
These those women are doing their thing. They got businesses or whatever they're doing. They're making their money. They're speaking from a top 10% perspective. So if you're a black woman who is in the top 10%, it's no wonder you find yourself not being able to find eligible black men because number one, only 10% of the population makes over $100,000. If you split that between sexes and then further split it between races, you're going to find a very, very small pool of men to choose from if you're trying to stick with black men exclusively. That's not an indictment on black men. That's just statistics. So if you want to go on those grounds, I can't fault you necessarily. But to disseminate that message broadly, in so much as to suggest that just on a whole, black men everywhere are just ineligible, speaks to my indication that there's hypergamy taking place. So like if you are a middle income earner woman, if you are an administrative assistant in an office job, or if you're a temp, or if you got a bachelor's degree and you're a teacher, or you are, whatever you do, if you work in revenue services, or if you work one of these jobs like this, Department of Children and Families, whatever the case may be, and you're earning $30,000 to $40,000 a year, $30,000 to $45,000 a year, you cannot turn around and look at a black man who is in the same boat as you, working, earning a salary, making 45, 50K a year, and look upon that as ineligible. That's where we have to draw the line because that to me is unreasonable. And I get the sense that women like this are disseminating that kind of message upon the masses, suggesting that middle income earning is somehow inherently inadequate. But what about all the women who are middle income earners? Like, and I'm making this about income because I feel as though they were making it about income.
Right.
Like, yeah, she brought up sexual orientation
Right.
and education and all that kind of
Right.
stuff. But I feel like she was using those things to buffer what she was
Right.
really getting, which is the
Right.
money, the income.
Right.
That's really what she was getting at. And
Agreed.
so if it's about the income, you can speak from the prism of top 10% because that's the lane that you operate in.
Right.
And if that's the case, I'm willing to give you the benefit of the doubt. But what about the other 90% of the population that doesn't live in that space? Yeah, women all over the place who work part-time, who don't have degrees, who maybe they have degrees, and they work full-time jobs doing what they do, and they earn paychecks and they earn a living. They might have things going on the side, but trust and believe their gross annual income is under 50K a year.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. So those women, which is the vast majority of the population, are now looking and saying, if you make under 100K a year as a man, you must be therefore ineligible.
Absolutely.
That to me doesn't make any sense.
Mhm.
And so we have to contextualize this conversation. What socioeconomic bracket are we looking at? And how does that apply to your individual situation? That's the key. Like you said, there's a lot of guys who don't fit any of those stereotypical buckets for black men, and they're getting overlooked because a lot of women who are in the same boat as them are believing that there's a certain barrier to entry based upon income. They don't care about education, because if a guy makes over 100K a year and he has a GED, they'll date him before they date the guy who has a PhD who makes 65K a year. And
Absolutely.
I'm telling the truth. So education has nothing to do with it. I know she
Right.
said it to try and make herself sound reasonable, but that
Right.
doesn't wash, and I'm calling BS on that.
Agreed.
So this is all about income and what bracket we fall into, and you have to
Absolutely.
contextualize the conversation. And what's potentially problematic about this kind of stuff is you got a lot of chicks out here who are they work in department stores, they work at Amazon, they work at FedEx shipping.
Come on now.
Like I said, they're a temp. You know, man who makes 45, 50K a year, that's for you, that's dating across and up. And that's not settling. That's not saying he's an underachiever. Those men shouldn't be perceived as ineligible to you. So you
Right.
just have to take messages like this with a grain of salt. So
Right.
again, on the surface, I'm not completely dismissing what they are saying, but you have to provide the nuance. You have to contextualize it, and it's a bit more complicated than just flatly saying black men aren't catching up and there aren't enough eligible black men. I don't know that I can go for all that.
No, well said, bro, because you hit on a lot of points that I was going to bring up, especially the aspect of, if they're making, let's say, 45K and they're dealing with a guy from the job, so he's making 45K too, she's still not satisfied. Now,
Right.
why is she not satisfied? Because she hears rhetoric like this all the time. So anytime she gets on her phone and goes into the woman's sphere and whatever they start preaching over there, the take home is always, yeah, I need the 6 figures, I need the blah 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 blah. And so they'll deal with 45K, man, but they'll feel like they're just settling, and they feel like they personally deserve, just because they have a vagina, that they personally deserve somebody that's in that top tier. Whether they're qualified or not, they don't go that far with their logic. So since they don't go that far, they'll still date whoever in their field, wherever they're at. Oh, these guys ain't squat. Well, look in the mirror. So they're gonna date these guys wherever they're at. But in the back of their mind, subconsciously, they're always holding out for 6-figure and up, man. And so they're gonna keep that mentality going. So that's even with the lower tier women. So even when you get up here to the higher bracket, right? Oh, you got your master's, good for you, and you're making 150K a year, right? It's stupendous. The reason why they claim that they want equal, which I don't even think they want equal to that, right? Because once they're up there in that zone, they have the same mindset of 45K girl. And even though they know that this guy here is making, 150 himself, there's still a level of, but there's guys who make 270.
Yeah, right.
So this guy isn't cutting it either, especially when they start going on these parties and these boats and these things here and these things there. Oh, hey girl. And they with their friends, and then her friend's husband got the yacht they're all on. Y'all not going to get a yacht, with 150K a piece income. I mean, I'm pretty sure your house is already lavish. You're not going to be able to afford a yacht and all this extra stuff too. I need yacht money. She's gonna scream.
Yeah.
So with this mentality, period, is problematic. So whether it's high class, like these ladies claim that they are, even though they didn't say that, but they talking like they is, right? Or the lower tier women, they all have the same mentality of, I can upgrade from wherever I'm at right now. And so even if there was a man qualified, 150K, boom, knocking it out, masters, all of that good stuff, that guy still will get treated the same way as 45K man will get treated. They just got better cars doing it. And the issue here overall is, I would argue, because the women are going to do this at this point, the modern women, all right? So let's not say all women, right? But modern women, for sure. The issue with this is coming from the men's perspective of this whole scenario. And as soon as men can really wrap their heads around the modern woman philosophy, so figuring out a woman has always been a conundrum for men. It's like, what's going on there? But with the advent of social media and networks and people can share information, everybody realized that they've been living the same dating story. And so with the same dating story, there's bullet points to modern woman thinking, because that's an inception, because women didn't always think like this. So the inception has been calculated. It's been triangulated. And they all speak the same language. These women are no different. So even if they're high value women and whatever they want to call themselves, they still talking modern woman. So this can be triangulated. And the thing that they're speaking about in here is a form of domination and financial domination. Women want to be financially dominated, physically dominated, intellectually dominated. They want a man that's smarter than them. They want a man that makes more money. They want a man that's taller, stronger than them. And if there's somebody that's dominant, then who's the subservient one? Right? Who's the submissive one, right? So this is the whole put me in my place situation on roids, right? They, as masculine as these modern women are, they and as repulsed by the word submissive as they are verbally, innately they want to get dominated.
Yes.
Period.
Yeah.
So if there's 270K man and he's all of 5'1" and she's 5'6", she's not dealing with bro. Why? Well, because I can't look up to him. I like to feel small when I'm around my guys. That's what she's gonna rebuttal. It was a girl. I'm in her on her live on Instagram, and she's cool. You know what I'm saying? People was asking her questions, and they was asking the height question. Hey, if the guy was six, she's like 5'10". So she was like, if there's a guy that was 6'2" making 45K or 50K, and then there was a guy that was 5'2", all right, but he made, 50K, not 50, 500, which one would you deal with? She had to think about that. So women aren't just about money. Women want to be dominated, period. So, bro, if you 5'7" out there, find you a woman that's 5'5".
Mm-hmm.
Find you a woman that's 5'2". This is the game right now. All right. Hey, bro, you're making 45K. Bro, find you somebody that's making 27. I don't even know if people make 27 no more. Bro, find it. Yeah. Bro, damn, bro, that's
adjusted for inflation.
Bro, you know what I'm saying? You doing your thing at 80K, bro. You crushing it. Find a woman at 50.
Yeah.
You have to financially dominate. You have to physically dominate. So getting in the gym. Like, these are the things that women want, but they speak in code. And they're gonna code speak and use all these things that there's not enough available men, that they're not educated, and all this stuff that you dissected the code. And you said the nuts and bolts of this is basically, the financial department. Absolutely. That's what this conversation is about. We didn't mention height in here, because if we throw height in your statistics, that number is going to go even smaller.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So the thing is, as men, what we have to realize is that hearing them speak like this from here on out is just like, what domination did she just ask for? And in that component, once you hear, if she's talking finances, she wants a guy that makes more money. So if you're sitting across from a woman and y'all make the same kind of money, and she's a modern woman, in the back of her mind, she thinks like this woman. So in the back of her mind, she's always looking at that car that's cleaner than yours, bro. She's always looking at the supervisor that pulls in more money than you, bro. And this is a sad reality of modern women. So I felt like, so yeah, on that first aspect, I agree. There's not enough black males out here that's not filling up the prisons, that's not having their orientations, in another direction, right?
Mm-hmm.
And not enough dudes out there that's pulling in some solid income. So that I agreed with. But like I said, there's a good enough men that don't fit that, because if there's a small percentage of black males that fit that, and there's a small percentage of black women that fit what she's talking about. So y'all, that small percentage, y'all better figure that out. But she's talking about domination, and so she wants to be physically, financially dominated, and that's why they say that lateral stuff. That's why you said, I don't even know if she said lateral. Yeah, because modern women, they say that because it sounds good. Oh yeah, I dated guys that were ugly. Oh, I dated guys that I wasn't attracted to. Oh, you dated past tense them guys. They're not around anymore. Why not? And I dated a guy that was dated past tense. Where is he now? You're looking for somebody who looks better and who has more money.
Yeah.
So let's call a spade right now. But they're not going to call a spade. They're going to call a spade a club. So now that we know that they're calling the spades clubs, it's just club. Hey, it's a spade, bro.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
So get in your lane, fellas,
Yeah.
and get to dominating, because that's what they want. And honestly, once you're in that bucket, then you can be like our boy Drake earlier, and now you're batting them away. Instead of saying where are the good women at, they're going to come a flocking because you're doing so much dominating. So yeah, the interesting conversation here, but again, more code speak.
Yeah, I don't even think that they only want to be I don't think they have one particular preference of domination. I think they want to be dominated in every respect.
Absolutely.
I think it's we, and yeah. So the chick, was that last week or 2 weeks ago, who talked about how the man wasn't a leader.
Right.
Another code word.
Right.
So for her, she was using the word leader to suggest that he was unable to financially, physically, and sexually impose his will on her.
Right.
And you can't have just one or two. You need all three. That's the thing. Is it takes all three. And I'll 100% agree that as much as they might verbalize this notion of neutrality or equitable, they don't want it. They don't buy. They don't actually want that. No. It's why modern feminism is a complete and utter fallacy.
Right.
Because they just want the things that they want, but the things that innately they desire when it comes to their relationship, they want that stuff to stay the same. And they've never wanted that. They've never wanted any of that to change. But yeah, like shouts out to the Fresh and Fit podcast. Myron one day was on the Fresh and Fit podcast, and he was talking about this. There's levels to this stuff. Like, you can be a guy who's a millionaire, and you can get your girl who wants to be with a millionaire guy. But there's guys in the world who make 2 million. You're a 1 million a year guy. There's a guy who makes 2 million a year. So there's never an end.
Right.
To the fact that you can get dunked on if a woman perceives herself to have the ability to upgrade.
Right.
So yeah, so like as a man, it is your responsibility to understand the lane that you operate in and to move accordingly. So if you're like, don't buy into this idea that you're inadequate because you're 50K a year guy. You're not inadequate because you're 50K a year guy. You're not. It's just women who are deluded like this, who believe that they are living in 100K a year space, view you as inadequate. It's irrational, but you just shouldn't pay attention to it. But if you are 50K a year guy, know the space that you operate in and make sure that you're dealing with 30, 40, 45K a year woman, because otherwise there are going to be way too many challenges that present themselves when it comes to how you're trying to orient your relationship with this individual if that baseline compatibility doesn't exist. And so, yeah, if you're 75K a year, old girl is going to be like, well, there's 100K a year guy. If you're 100K a guy, if you're 100K a year guy, old girl is going to be like, there's 150K. There's always a level to aspire to. You know what I'm saying? Like, unless you're Elon Musk or Bezos or one of these people, there's always a level above yours, even if you're at $1 million. So you're just going to have to learn how to best operate in the space that you're occupying. And the last thing that I'm going to say personally is the door on this stuff swings both ways.
Mhm.
So just like women like this can talk about how there aren't enough eligible black men, I can talk about how there aren't enough eligible black women if we really wanted to take it there. Like if we really wanted to take it there, I can get on my TikTok and make a video about how there aren't enough eligible black women. Because you're talking about education, financial status, and achievement in life. Okay, well, I can talk about being childless, being physically in shape, and being physically attractive if we want to take it there. So if I wanted to play the same game, there's always an opposite side to the same coin.
Absolutely.
I can talk about how as a black man who is upwardly mobile, I'm finding myself not being around enough eligible black women because I'm not finding enough black women who are cute, physically in shape, and aren't single mothers, which are all traits that men innately seek in women. If we really wanted to take it there. Now, it's up to your individual preferences, right? So we all as men have preferences that vary across the board, but I think whatever is attractive to you as a man, that's what you seek. Whatever is in shape to you as a man, that's what you seek. And I think any man who is of stable, sound mind and body, who is emotionally mature, desires a woman to not be a single mother, to be childless. I don't think it's beyond the pale for me to say that. I don't think it's unreasonable for me to say that if a man has his preference, he prefers to date women who are not single mothers. Now, could you get along with and be in a good relationship with a woman who's a single mother? Sure, but we're talking about optimally what is it that you seek? Just like optimally these women are seeking men who are on their level or above in terms of finances and education. Optimally, a man would prefer to seek a woman who is not a single mother, who's childless, so that you can establish that foundation from a point of, there not being any of that baggage that is inherent in either party. So if we want to take it there and talk about amount of eligible, prospects, the door swings both ways. It goes on either side. So I can play that card if I chose to. Where are all of the black women who are cute and physically in shape and aren't single mothers? And it gets even further, just like you said, the list even further dwindles when you bring in things like height. The list even further dwindles for when we're talking about women, when you bring in things like education and achievement and how much money they make. The number dwindles drastically when we bring in those qualifiers. I'm just sticking to the looks and the lack of being a single mom. And I'm saying, where are all the women who fit that bill? So, if you want to take it there, we can take it there because the door swings both ways. I'm just saying on either side, it can be problematic when you are exposing yourself to rhetoric of this caliber on a regular enough basis and you don't have the wherewithal to be reasonable enough to understand what lane or space that you're operating in and how to properly contextualize how you feel about these various dynamics. And so we all have to keep that kind of stuff in mind, including women like this. I ain't trying to take nothing away from them, but they operate in 100K a year world. Not every woman does, and 90% of women don't, because that's only 10% of the population, and people just got to keep that in mind.
And you forgot to add not masculine to your list.
Oh, so, there you go. Yeah.
That just shot any. Well, I'm not. Oh, I forgot that you can't be masculine either. Yeah. Where's the pool now?
Right. Yeah.
Where's the pool now? So yeah, man. And again, this modern woman thing, it's a phenomenon that this thing is ugly. And so if you're a 40K guy and she doesn't subscribe to any of this stuff, she's more traditional. She understands femininity. She understands submission. She understands these concepts. You still have to dominate, sir. All right. but it's not the hypergamous weird stuff. The hypergamous weird stuff comes from the modern women, period. And you can find out you're dealing with a modern woman with a simple survey. All right. Just, you know what I'm saying? When y'all having y'all conversations, just take notes. Oh, you only want how many kids because you don't want to get in the way of your career? Got it. Oh, you need a man to idealistically you want how many bedrooms? Got it. What kind of car do you trying to have? Oh, I have to have a luxury. Got it. Because everything that she throws on her list, even if you have it, if somebody has a better version of it, she's hopping dick.
Yes.
So there's a modern woman handbook that they all read from. So you'll know which ones you're dealing with. And if you have a modern woman on your roster right now, fellas, then treat them accordingly. And they just want to be dominated. All right. So there's a difference between domination, all right, and dictatorships. Find the medium, guys, play it well, but dominate them. And that's basically all they've been crying for, because masculinity as a whole has been under fire. And we talked about this before on several pods, where masculinity as a whole has been targeted through mass media and all these other things that's been targeting masculinity at, the foods. So when guys are coming up and stuff like that, what women are actually yearning for, these various levels of domination. Not that I agree with all of it, but that's part of making a woman submit, is domination. And then men, and at every angle, they've been taught and trained to not be dominant. Go swipe your badge, go do this, follow the rules. And this is another thing, one more thing, because women are excellent at school. Why is that? And boys are always messing up. They always, as there guys in school who do well? Yeah. But if we're talking as a whole, why are women running circles around men in school? Why are they populating these colleges so much, but not the guys so much? It's because they just have to follow rules. They have to submit. And they just go in there submitting to rules. The guys don't. They end up in detention. And so there's a thing where this economic system has been set up to just follow these rules. If there's a guy in there that says, nah, I want to have my own empire, I want to have my own this, my own that, or whatever, he's straying away from cubicle lifestyle, limited man. And so he has to go out there and get it off the muscle all himself. And that is a struggle to try to build your own empire. It's not always easy. And so for a guy to have the guys in the workforce, they are making the same kind of money as the women that's there. The women that's there see this guy subservient to another guy, because I'm being submissive. You in here with me. We both being submissive. I want a boss. Oh, you want a boss. So you want somebody that runs his own thing, or higher up in the, the work food chain or whatever. So their mindset is always looking at domination. So the reason why they're running circles is because these institutions were set up for feminine energy, period. And so guys that have their own sense of, hey, I want to go out there, they go out and they create a podcast, right? They go out there and they try to create things for themselves so they can build, grow, and develop and have something to call their own, because that's what men naturally and innately want. They weren't meant to work in these slave systems that's been set up. And while these women are working in these systems, they subconsciously see that you have to obey a boss. So at the end of the day, the reason why they're running circles in these jobs is because it's set up for that. And as you can see, if you go to customer service anywhere, it's an effeminate male behind that counter, because they would rather have him working, because he's going to listen. He's not going to buck the system. So this is definitely this. I'm saying there's a lot to go with this, but I'll just stick with the key component there, is that, fellas, don't listen to the code speak. It's great that we can be able to digest it and interpret it now, because if you just listen to them for face value, you'll be way on that other side of the street instead of dead center as you need to be. So yeah, man, interesting stuff here, interesting topic. Definitely definitely some fire lit here. That's for sure.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, on the surface, I don't really have an issue too much with what they are saying, principally, but there's too much contextualization there. There's too much
Absolutely.
nuance, and that's what I have an issue with. I won't say that this is rhetoric that is as dangerous as the one that we talked about last
No,
week,
last week was
where
crazy.
a chick wants to talk about stressing a dude out to make him love you. But this is getting close to bordering on dangerous. But because there is some practicality inherent in it, I can't go so far as to say it's entirely dangerous.
Yeah.
But it can be problematic. I'll go that far. It can be problematic for sure. And if this kind of platform, or if women like this had a disclaimer before every video saying this content mostly applies to women who make top 10% income per year, then maybe I'd give it a pass. But there's a swath of people out there. There's a whole entire population, 90%, in fact, because only 10% of the total population, again, makes more than 100K a year. So there's an entire population of people out here to whom this type of stuff, it serves as a detriment if you truly ingratiate yourself with it. So, um, you know, it is what it is. I'll leave it at that. Good conversation, good talk. Guys, if you're out there, know the lane that you play in.
For real.
Don't let these women bully you into believing that you're inadequate because you're not in the top 10%. That is it's a counterproductive mindset to have, and it leads to a lot of mental health issues and all of that kind of stuff that we could get more into if we have more time. But um, we'll go ahead and end it on that note. This is a great video, great week, great conversation. But then again, I'm not saying nothing new because we always bring heat on this channel each and every week.
Man.
So this is not a new phenomenon, ladies and gentlemen. If you are watching this stream, certainly appreciate you watching the stream. Leave a comment, like the video. Please subscribe to the channel if you're not a part of the tribe, because we are growing, best believe.
Hey.
Conscious Approach is on Instagram at Conapproach, CONAPPROACH, and be on the lookout for video updates on TikTok because that is coming as well. We also have the full content library on the website, consciousapproach.com, and we have this also being published to the meta page for as long as I have the patience to keep it up. And that patience is dwindling with each and every week, but I still have the capacity for it. So while I do, check it out on the meta page. If you happen to be on there, like the video there, share the video, comment where you see fit, because we always appreciate you supporting logical content. Once again, my name is JV Wins. That is Dogon SS. You can find me on Instagram at JV Wins. And I look forward to seeing you when we do our next video, because it'll be very much like this one, if not better. But it most certainly won't be worse because we always bring the heat.
That's right. Skr. And the name is Dogon SS. All right. You can find me on Instagrams at Dogon_SS or on YouTube at Dogon SS. And also, all right, working in the shadows on my college football channel. All right. The name is Hurricane Dogon. You guys can go over there and check that out if you guys are into sports, because, well, I love me some Miami Hurricanes. All right. So I talk about them and other things college football related. All right. Now I'm working in the shadows with that, but the release is coming very, very soon. All right. So you guys can catch me over there at the Hurricane Dogon channel. That's here on YouTube. All right. And as I always say on every pod, everybody, all right, don't be too high, don't be too low. Keep it calm, keep it chill, and keep it player, man. All right. Don't let anybody get you guys off of your pivots out here. All right. And fellas, dominate. All right. If you want to see that submission in that woman's eyes, I suggest you dominate, sir. All right. And until next time, everybody, we'll catch y'all on the flip side.
Yeah, facts. Race to 1K, man. Subscribe to that button. Current goal is 1,000 subscribers. We are getting there slowly but surely, and I am not putting a single dime behind this yet. So this is all organic, and this is all off the muscle. So if you are so inclined, hit that subscribe button. But until the next video, we will catch you on the flip side. We signing off. We'll see you later. Peace.
Peace. Skrrr.